Hello and welcome to Three Sisters, One Heart podcast. I'm Tiffany.
I'm Shannon.
I'm Heather.
And this week we're talking back to school question mark.
Yeah,
So, of course, there's a lot of stuff going on right now with COVID and a lot of debate whether we should go back to brick and mortar style school, whether we should do distance learning, and every state is a little different and every county is a little different. So we're going to discuss what is available to us in our counties, what we're doing, and kind of get into it a little bit. But before we do, we're going to go over our trials this week.
You want to go first?
Mine's a long one, y'all sure?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So, I know I've sort of touched on the topic of my ex-husband and him not being that great.
Wow.
Yeah.
Who has an ex that they're just like, oh, my ex is so fabulous?
Yeah.
To be fair,
Very rare.
in a co-parenting situation, I do have that.
Yeah.
But that's very rare.
It is incredibly rare.
Well, he was supposed to have the boys all summer, and yes, summer's almost over. Not a huge deal, but I got an email last week on Thursday, basically him having me, on Wednesday, and basically saying I needed to come get our oldest and he couldn't handle him anymore.
It was a terrible email.
It was. That's putting the email very lightly as to what he said.
kind.
It was graphic and awful and
Yes. Especially not mean towards me.
mean. No.
Not at all. It was mean towards our oldest, which very much angered me.
Yeah.
So I made arrangements, got him the next day, and I actually ended up getting both boys, surprisingly. I was only supposed to get our oldest, but Jack wanted to come home too.
He missed his mommy.
He did.
Yeah.
So now I had the trial of figuring out who was going to watch him, and I'm thankful Shannon, without any hesitation, was like, bring him home, I got him. I was
No,
like,
it's
yeah.
like, give me him. I cannot.
okay.
The anger that was inside of me, like reading that email.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
of
me
course
too.
she let everybody read because that's what we do.
Yeah.
Um,
Sent it to the family group chat, and just it kind of irked me because he badmouthed me when I chose to take them to the doctor, get them diagnosed, and then they were on meds, and he badmouthed me about how if I can't handle those kids, I need to give them up. He couldn't even handle them for a summer.
Right.
This is his first summer ever getting them all summer, and he couldn't do it.
And
What gets me so much is that, like, I know we've talked about this, but he took them out of their everyday element, and that's normal. I get it. It's a custody situation, whatever. But you have to understand that that's hard on kids.
Yeah.
Regardless of what's right or wrong to do, it's hard on kids. Time sharing can be. Wouldn't let them have medication that they need, clearly, that we've
Which
seen.
it's not a huge deal for them to not have it in the summer. Even
Right,
his doctor
because
said
they're
allowed.
academics.
Yeah, they're allowed to be off of it in the summer. Not a big deal. I keep them on it because it helps them feel better.
Yeah.
They are able to do their own things without being at each other's throats constantly.
And they don't want to be reprimanded all day long.
No.
What kid wants
well,
that?
and what we've mentioned before, the fact that they notice a difference.
Yes.
With their medications. So I just don't understand why. What bothers me about the email, okay, is that he was bad mouthing his own kid, and
Yeah.
sure, we all think our kids can be little assholes. Everyone
He
feels
went a
that
lot
way.
further than calling him that.
But you don't just say like
Hands up in the air, I'm done.
I'm done, and that's basically what it said. And then we said, bring him on. We'll keep you anytime.
It was like 9:30 at night. I said,
We'll
I'll
take
come
it.
get him right now.
I know.
Yeah.
I told her, I was like,
I
where
won't
is
hesitate.
he? Right
He's
now.
like, no, 5:30 tomorrow. I was like, fine, whatever. Not arguing with you. I'm coming to get my kid.
But that was the longest day, knowing that Matt was in a situation where he wasn't wanted.
Yeah.
That sucks.
So it is his choice as when and if he goes back. Even his dad says that. Fine. Not a huge deal.
At least he had the sanity to say that.
Yeah. And as far as going back with Jack this past Sunday, he chose not to, which is fine. Especially if it's a toxic environment.
Yeah, and it clearly is.
Yeah.
I also can't stand that even though he is upset at the situation that he himself is in, that he still finds a way to prod and poke and undermine you as a person and as a parent at the same time.
Oh yeah, because the email was riddled with pretty much it's your fault.
was incredibly rude.
Yeah.
Which that part I'm so used to that didn't faze me, is the fact that he went off at my kid.
Yeah.
So I would say he can badmouth me, he can do all that.
Right.
I don't care. And then I had the boys come home and tell me that Daddy calls you rude names. Well, that kind of spiked my interest. I was like, what does he call you or call me? They were like, well, it's a bad word. We can't say it. I was like, you know what? I will let it slide this time. I was like, okay, if he's saying like curse words about me in front of the kids, not okay.
Yeah.
I mean, anything in front of the kids, bad mouthing the other parent is not okay. No,
it is actually contempt of court.
yes, absolutely, it is in our paperwork. But he doesn't follow that. only when it suits him.
Oh,
Of
for
course.
sure.
Then he's ready to pull up that paperwork, right?
Yes. I have probably memorized it by now. Like, I know what it says.
Yeah. But that's a really hard position to be in, because to do the right thing, sure, you should just be like, oh, don't worry about what Daddy says or anything like that. But you're human. When
Yeah.
you're in that situation, I get it.
Yep. So it wasn't even a bad word. He
Just
said.
nasty and mean.
He was just being rude towards me, and unfortunately, it's within where. I mean, that's probably right in front of the kids, to be honest.
It's probably to the kids.
Yeah. Yeah,
So.
very much. I mean, I don't know how many times they've come home saying, "Daddy said you stole his money."
Ugh.
Child support. That's court ordered. That I also haven't gotten in 6
Not
months.
that much.
You know, it's
If
such a
we're being real.
twisted, like, just to show you the difference in co-parenting relationships and what it should be and shouldn't be. They think, or are told, that you stole money.
Mm-hmm.
Aubriana didn't know anything about child support until actually very recently she saw a check that he had wrote to me
Yeah.
for child support. And Aubriana's like, why is he giving you money? And I was like, oh, because Daddy helps pay bills for you. And she goes, oh, that's good. And that was it. Like,
That's perfect.
Daddy helps take care of you.
Yeah. And now what? Going on 4 years that the boys have been in school? 5 years almost. I broke down this year because he's not paid child support in 6 months, and I said, hey, would you put in for some school supplies, go
Yeah.
pick them up some? And in that same email I had wrote him, I asked how the kids were. I got a response as, they're doing great.
You completely ignored
That's it.
the question.
Completely ignores the fact that I asked him for help getting their school supplies. Not once in 4 years since they've been in school has he ever helped with school supplies.
So it's not surprising, but it
No.
still is ridiculous.
But as the first time I've ever actually asked him, I figured maybe he'll be, nope.
No. Never.
Nope.
Nope.
That is rough. That's a trial for sure.
Yep.
And one that's not going to just disappear overnight by any means.
Unfortunately, no. I'm gonna have to deal with him for the rest of my life, and yeah, all the time he says, "Oh, well, only X and out more years that I have to deal with you." I'm like, you
But no,
realize
it's forever.
that our kids are still our kids. It doesn't mean we're not gonna have to deal with them. Look, they go to college. We're probably gonna both be at graduation.
Mm-hmm.
They get married. We're both gonna be there.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll be there.
Everyone will be there. Like,
I can
it's
see
not
him being
just
like, I'm not going if your mom's going.
Oh,
I can
he totally
totally see
would.
that.
And that's his own fault. He'd miss out.
Yeah.
So yeah,
The kids are getting older, and
Matthew's
they'll see.
definitely noticing.
I think that's part of it, you know?
And that, and it's like, it sucks. You don't want your kids to know anything like that, but at the same time, it's like, finally, maybe they'll realize, like, I did all I could,
Right.
you know?
So I'm just at the point of letting them see him for who he is and letting them make their own opinions of him. And Matthew not wanting to go back is showing
It's his own
he's
doing.
starting to see.
Yeah, he sees. He totally sees.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
What about yours?
Okay, so mine is just very different. So we were on our Keys trip, which was fun. We'll talk about that later on in our triumphs. And we were on our last day. We checked out the hotel and we were on our way to do something like this cool nature park thing before we left. And I get a phone call from the gynecologist saying that I have an abnormal Pap test, which almost instantly made me start crying. And I think that, okay, so we've talked about it a lot, and I feel
Yeah.
a little bit better now about it. But I think it's important to share this because I'm sure other people have been through this. I've never had an abnormal test before,
Yeah.
so I was first off just like very surprised. Very surprised. I just had my blood work done. It was good.
Everything else came back
Everything
great.
else came back great except for this. So I just started getting really upset because I knew before I even asked what I have to go in for a I'm gonna probably say it
Consultation?
wrong. No, it's like it's not a colonoscopy, but it's like for your cervix, but it's
I forget
a
the name
seal-
too.
But it is almost like it's like colovoscopy or something.
it's like
I'm
they
messing
scrape
it up.
cells.
They're going in for a deeper look-see, right?
Mhm.
And
Are they scraping cells or are they?
Oh yeah, they taking, yeah. But I just read about it. I got a pamphlet in the mail today. So basically, they have this magnifying machine,
Mhm.
right? They open you up with a little
I've
what
been
you
through it,
call
I know.
it. They put the magnifying thing in there so they can really see what they're doing, and then they take more of a scrape. It's like a biopsy.
It's not
They
painful,
go in
though.
and do a biopsy.
So don't get
yeah, I
stressed.
was
Okay,
reading
the
about
one
it.
I had was painful, but
Was
they went in and burned out.
Oh, that's
So did they do
different,
that
yeah.
right away?
I had the abnormal pap, and they knew cancer ran in the family, so they're
Yeah.
like, well, let's just go ahead, take a look, and they're like, all right, well, it's probably gonna hurt, and I'm like,
So
Do
when
what
they
you
took
gotta do,
a
whatever
look,
way.
they were just went ahead and.
two birds, one stone with them. I don't know, military hospital. I didn't ask,
I mean,
and
I'd
I was
rather.
only, let's see, 22.
Yeah, that's
So I
crazy.
didn't know.
Yeah.
Well, and this is where was gonna get to. So, for me, my heart sank because I knew that the main thing that it could be that's the scariest thing is cervical cancer, which our Nana actually died from. And I'm kind of like, I won't say like I'm a health nut because like whatever, I have my like things like everyone else, but like I am very, very health positive.
Yeah.
And it is a reflection of, you know, the people around me and the things that I've been through. I remember so first off I should say like my Nana was my best friend. She died when I was in the 3rd grade. It was really hard. I think we've talked about it on the podcast. I'm trying not to cry. I think I did last time. And I remember it. I remember all of it. I remember enough to know that it was horrible and life-changing and life-taking. And then I just went through with my uncle
Yeah.
a year or so ago.
Yeah, you just have too much.
Going through with him with cancer, and so it just hit me like a dang brick wall, you know. And my first worry is that I have freaking cancer. So of course I text mommy. I didn't want to text my Aunt Kelly because I didn't want her freaking out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I text mommy just because I had some questions, you know, about history.
And she
then
directed you to me.
She told me that you had one come back and that you actually, if you don't mind
I don't
sharing,
mind.
you actually had some precancerous
Yeah.
cells.
Which is why I had to get them burned
freaking
out.
Scary. I didn't realize this, and,
And
I
if
think
that's
it's
the
only
case, you're gonna
because
have to
you're
go back every
Japan.
6 months for a recheck.
However, to counter that, it doesn't have to be that way. They
Right.
can come back as very easily. You get like false positive. And,
Right.
Like
I
false-
read it's like 3% of only 3% of
or like actual issues.
or not just issues because there are other things that you could
Yeah.
have. There are like STDs and stuff like that you
Right.
could have. I should have none of those because I've been with the same partner for
Yeah.
ever.
Right.
But it could be a few different things. But for it to be cervical cancer, it's like 3% of annually of abnormal paps actually are cancerous. So that's not too bad.
No,
Yeah.
those are
It
good
could be
odds.
worse, yeah. And I'm hoping I'll just go in and they're like, we don't know. It was a weird off day. You had
Yeah.
an off test, or
That's what happened to me. They couldn't figure out. They
You
couldn't
had
find
one too?
anything wrong with me. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
And there was nothing.
I've had them come back abnormal, and then you go back for the recheck, and they're like, don't know.
Okay, good. It was really
can be-
emotional though.
It can be anything, like we were talking about.
So
Like your hormones
pH
can
balances
throw
could be
everything off,
and it'll throw back an abnormal
And it-
pap.
Like not. I mean, I think it should absolutely be taken seriously, and you need to do the follow up.
Oh, I am for sure.
But at the same time, at this point, take it with a grain of salt. And I know there's only so much you can do to calm yourself
Yeah.
until that point, because we do have such history. But there's just so many that come back as either no big deal
Right.
or something very, very small, fixable, take this, you're good to go.
Yeah.
But like
And I'm not a doctor, I don't know what
in
all
that
these things
in
are.
that moment, I like
Oh yeah.
I like shut down almost, you know, and like here I am on vacation trying to like
enjoy
that
yourself.
last
Yeah.
little bit of time that I have left, and like this is all I can think about. Like we're hiking down these like beautiful trails near the water, and like I'm crying again. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It was just really tough and really emotional, and I feel better once I get this second, you know, look into.
Yeah.
I have to wait though, like I think it's like 2.5 more weeks. Unfortunately,
Ugh.
I already had that appointment. It was supposed to be for my IUD. I have to get an IUD replaced and put back in a new one, clean, fresh, fancy new one.
I gotta get one of those.
But I had to shift my appointment and do this instead,
Yeah.
which obviously is more important. But it's scary,
Mm-hmm.
and I guess I didn't realize I have a lot of knowledge when it comes to like women's health and women's health issues, and this is something that I know very little about, and I did not realize how common it was
Yeah.
for you to get you know, abnormal
Yeah.
one, and that it's probably going to be okay. So I'll keep you guys updated. You know, we're pretty open and honest on here, and it's something that it's kind of like I get. It's one of those kind of things that it's not maybe talked about so much. Because unless it becomes actual like cancer, so
Right.
people don't want to talk about how it was when they went to the gyno. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But I feel like this is a good opportunity to kind of discuss.
Well,
that
yeah,
kind of
because it
thing.
was enlightening to realize that
Yeah.
even your sisters you didn't realize had been through something
Yeah.
similar.
Which is
that
crazy. I know
you don't-
yours in particular is because you were in Japan. So like there was a
Yeah.
lot of miscommunication or no communication hardly because you were just so far away and it was a weird time.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that's why I didn't know that you as
I was like 18, 19, you lived far away.
That's crazy
Yeah.
too.
So
Here I'm
we
35
we
and
weren't
freaking
nearly
out.
we weren't nearly as close
Yeah.
True.
at that point.
Yeah, but I mean, that's wild. I can
Yeah.
imagine having that results or hearing that at 18. Honestly, I was surprised that she told me that over the phone because to me it seems so serious. You know what I'm saying?
It's just every day for them.
I
Yeah.
guess so. And yeah, so that is what it is. I have a couple of weeks and I'll have my appointment and hopefully it'll
I'm
all
sure
be good.
it'll all be fine, and if not, then we'll figure out what the hell it is and head
Yep.
on.
Yeah.
So,
How about
well,
you?
I'm glad that I'm going last, but I feel super trivial at this point because you guys have like real world issues. And mine is I'm just so damn frustrated about these damn passports.
Well, yeah.
So we'd like to take the girls on a trip. And we'll get more into that in a little bit. But in order to get the girls' passports, there's a lot that has to go into it. Being a blended family, I'll just say that there's different paperwork
Makes
that
it
you
even
need,
trickier.
and whatnot. So we had everything in order. I talked to the lady like probably for a good half an hour on the phone. I took notes. I knew exactly how much everything was going to cost, exactly which forms I needed to download and print, what needed to be filled out, what extra court orders, permissions, pictures for photos, everything. I made sure she went down the list and told me every little last detail I could possibly need. And I know that this sounds obvious. Looking back, yes, it sounds obvious.
It
But
didn't to me.
they failed to mention the actual child has to be there. As a parent, I can't just go get a passport for my child. They have to be there. And it was a last minute decision not to. Because without saying too much, for one of my kids, the whole one parent not in the other, it can bring up emotional things, and I don't like to subject her to anything more than I have to.
Right.
Anything to remind her that things are a little bit different. So, super frustrating. They wouldn't even let my husband run home, which was like literally a 3-minute drive away, to
It's
grab
very
them real
close.
quick. Just super frustrating that because they're backed up on passports. So it's going to take at least 6 months, and you have to make appointments to go in there, and they only have appointments like pretty much once every 2 weeks. So I guess in the end it halfway worked out. They had a cancellation for tomorrow that we're gonna make work to take everybody up there, which is whatever, it's fine. But the lady was just so rude and nasty. It wasn't the lady that I dealt with on the phone, even though I'm still a little bit annoyed with her because whenever I ask you exactly what I have to bring,
Right.
I have to bring the children.
let me know I need to bring the child. She told me about the pictures. She told me about birth certificates. All those things. Didn't tell me about the child. And I actually thought maybe they wouldn't let the kids in
Yeah.
because of all the COVID precautions and this, that, and the other. So I thought I was doing the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
No, I was not. So it was just a really frustrating day trying to get these kids passports. Super exciting,
Yeah.
but it's a lot of work. And it's a lot of money.
6 months.
Yes.
It's very expensive. I shouldn't have to pay so much to be disrespected, and the lady was rude.
Yeah. 6
But-
months is a long time too.
They're backed up like $1 million, which is why we want to get this in now,
Right.
rather than wait and it be another 6 months or whatever. Like,
How
get this
long
process
does it
started.
usually take for a passport? 2
You
months?
can expedite to have 6 weeks
Wow.
in typical scenarios.
Yeah, like an everyday situation.
Right now,
not COVID
they're like
situation.
$1.5 million backed up or something right now because they're
Wow.
reopening that office in phases because processing passports isn't something you can do from home, obviously.
Right.
So those offices were closed for quite some time. So I totally understand that it's backed up and whatever, but I'm like, I'm just trying to get this paperwork in.
Mm-hmm.
The lady could have easily dealt with me in the paperwork to start, had him go get the kids, and it would have been no big deal. It was just, I think that's the frustration, is that the lady
Yeah.
really could have helped, and she had no desire to be helpful at all. So, it was frustrating. But that's about it. That's my
I
trial
hope
for the
tomorrow
week.
goes better. Hope it's a different person in there you get to
Yeah.
deal
She
with.
did, however, I did make her look over my paperwork because I didn't want to have any more hang-ups. Oh, and I forgot, even before I got there, I tried to go get, you have to have a certified copy of your birth certificate, and somehow I don't have one.
That's crazy.
I don't know. I had a copy, but not a certified copy. Whatever. So I'll go pay for another one. What's a little more money after all this crap? But the Vital Statistics office wouldn't even see anybody in person. They only mailed them, and I'm like, you think you could have put that on your website? That would have been cool. But whatever. Tax collector's office, apparently, you can get your birth certificate. Never knew that.
Huh.
Thankful for the helpful security guard at the health department. But so I was all flustered before I even got there anyway, because I thought it was going to be as easy as go grab my birth certificate, go do my thing.
Right.
No, it was
It's never that easy.
Nothing can go. And I was even telling them earlier, like, I feel so anxious about this, and I don't know why I feel so anxious, and I just knew something was going to go wrong. So, oh well. But anyway, that was like long-winded trials, but that's okay.
I don't
It's
think we've
alright.
ever had trials that long. My goodness.
It's been one of those weeks, apparently.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We were supposed to podcast Monday, you guys, which was yesterday, and all of us were like,
No.
no, not feeling it. And not just not feeling the podcast, just not having the energy that we
Yeah.
would prefer to have to put into it. You know,
Yeah.
we're just drained.
Yeah, like if I don't feel like I can like be on and like ready to go, I feel like it's a waste.
Yeah.
Like if I'm not ready to
Me
be
too.
vulnerable and let it all out there,
Yeah.
I can't.
I feel
So,
it.
and I forgot that was another trial. I was sick yesterday, so I had this random, not COVID,
Thank God.
but I had no fever. I was checking like crazy. I was terrified, but just had this really weird, nauseous, not feeling great kind of day. Not pregnant, not COVID. We're good.
Right.
Anything else?
Not your gallbladder.
Not my gallbladder. Anything
Stop.
else I can handle, but
Right,
not
right.
pregnant, not COVID. It's all good.
Well, speaking of COVID,
Yes.
as you guys know, it is back to school time, and everywhere is kind of doing something a little bit different per the different states,
The different
and counties
districts,
and districts and such. Now, for our county, they did push the start back date was it 3 weeks?
I think it was just 2.
3.
I think it was
Was it
3. We
three?
have 2 left because now school starts on like the
School was
the
supposed to start
31st.
today or yesterday.
Yeah, now it's going to start
On the
on the
31st.
31st. To give teachers and the schools and the kids like a little bit more time to kind of like
Prepare.
get things ready, get their ducks in a row and such, like that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have been looking at the different news articles and seeing that not only is COVID rising in positive cases with children, whereas it wasn't when this all kind of first started. It was like kids weren't really getting it. Now we're seeing more school age children getting it and testing positive. And so that kind of is scary. It's a little scary. Now, it's not necessarily so scary because the kids themselves don't have as
Severe symptoms.
severe symptoms. Yeah. So it's not scary necessarily for me personally.
What's scary for more is like, say for me, I'm high risk. If I get it, I'm gonna get the stronger, more.
Not necessarily just because you're high risk.
I'm
would you
more
get
likely
them.
to
But
have
you
the
could,
worst
yes.
side effects of it. Whereas, say if somebody healthy got it, it'd be just a horrible cold.
Right.
Whereas it could land me in the hospital.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the thing too. That's probably my biggest concern too, is that I'm not so worried for my children going back. I'm more concerned about the staff that is at the school tending to these children who, let's face it, kids are not the best with hygiene. They're
No.
not, especially those like lower elementary school children. They're not the best with their hygiene. And so I worry for the faculty and the staff that are, kind of putting themselves at risks every day. And, almost they're like those first responders.
Yeah.
They're really almost just like
they're
a
like on
first
the front
responder
lines now.
because they are going to be on the front lines. So I've also seen a lot of stuff in the news about teachers kind of being upset about going back. And I know for our county, what they've decided to do for those teachers is to let them choose to. Sorry, I got a little one.
Not right now. Yeah, look at it. Very cool.
He's Minecrafting. Very cool.
We-
Very cool, buddy.
We have a
Why don't you
little.
change it?
Okay. We'll talk about it in a little bit.
He's Minecrafting.
I'm not editing that out.
No, keep it
It's
in
too
there.
cute.
Sorry.
I know you should have popped on and said hey in the video.
Oh, he's not about that.
Although I did just
that?
realize that the door was shut, so I'm super glad because whenever we were talking, after we finished
I knew the
talking,
door was
Oh,
shut.
yeah,
otherwise
I knew
wouldn't
too.
have talked about it.
I realized like, oh God, I hope the door was shut.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
we have a kid here.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's in the other
So
room.
anybody, if you were wondering, like I was, the door was shut. He heard nothing.
And he's got the game on, so he's
he's in
really...
the zone. But I think just to get back on topic,
The teachers, with the teachers, if they're nervous about coming back, they are in our county anyways, gonna allow them to take a leave, but it would be like unpaid, like a furlough.
Yeah.
So it kind of puts them still in a tricky
Yeah.
position.
and it
They have the option.
from what I've read about that, it's really like they could do it, but they would be giving up so much. Like it messes with their retirement,
yeah.
it messes with their
Yes.
everything, and it's just.
It's
What-
I
really
don't-
giving them only the option to stay.
I don't know the right answer, so I'm not going to pretend that I do, but I know that that's the wrong answer.
I agree. The only thing it really is giving them is future job security, because if they choose to stay home, they aren't fired for not working. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's the only thing. That's all it gives them.
Yeah.
So I feel for those teachers. I feel extra for those teachers right now because not only are they having to do their regular, teaching plans and stuff like that, like they would have to do any year, but they're also having to do it and keeping in mind scheduling in for things like hand washings and bathroom breaks and working around cleaning
I'm
in
curious on
the
how
space.
they plan on doing lunches and outside time, because you
I know.
cannot keep an elementary school kid inside for those 8 hours without some
From
kind of release.
My understanding was that lunches are either going to be staggered,
Or in the classroom.
or they'll be in the classroom
Yeah.
with their lunch.
Okay, well that solves lunch, but they're just not going to go outside and play anymore.
well, I
I
have to do it at home, I guess.
from what I read,
Are they going to
they
sanitize
can be
the
on the playground,
playgrounds?
but they have to be 6 feet apart.
That's gonna be fun.
Good luck.
Yeah.
My heart goes out to those teachers because
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
you
I
are
have-
in it.
A friend who,
Oh,
luckily
yeah.
she's a guidance counselor. So I find a little bit of comfort in that she won't be as face to face with as many kids every day.
Yeah.
Because she's pregnant. And she's very pregnant. Like she's
Yeah.
gonna be having a baby soon. And so like I worry about her being in that environment. Like, and I just, I don't know. I'm torn
Right.
because there are so many kids that need school. They need
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
So they
Mine didn't do well with the homeschool distance learning.
Yes.
They miss school. They want to be in school. They want to be away from home for a little bit and away from
Yeah.
each other, and it gives them that break. But I'm worried that even with these new social distancing rules while in school, we're still going to go back into a shutdown.
And I worry too about like their behavioral repercussions.
Yeah.
Being that they're younger, like I understand, like especially the very low, like lower elementary, they're gonna try to be like, you know, understanding and
Yeah.
forgiving. But at some point, as you know, you go up in age, they have more responsibility on
Matt's
them.
going into third, and I don't see them being very lenient with third,
No.
Right.
9-year-olds.
And so I just
They're
wonder,
going to be
like, are they
expected-
going to be getting in trouble then
Yeah.
for these
Yeah.
things? And, like, imagine them getting in trouble for things like, hey, you didn't stay far enough from your friend. Or,
Yeah.
you know, you didn't cough into your elbow or something.
Well, I think
Like-
that there's like only so much that they can do. I mean,
Right.
I would hope that it's at the teacher's discretion and that they're reasonable human beings.
Yeah.
But that's a hard position to be in.
Yeah,
Do
it is.
you potentially risk all the other kids in your class because you give one a break, or
Right,
are you
right.
an asshole because you're so strict to protect the other
It's
kids in the
incredibly
class?
stressful. And I'm
Yeah, and I'm grateful to not be in that position because I don't know what I would do.
But I'm also very grateful to those educators and those faculty and staff because
Willing to go that and do that.
holy
Yeah.
crap. So this kind of brings me to, and we've mentioned a few of these things, what the CDC is saying about school. So this has also been kind of controversial. I've gone both ways where I feel like I'm you know, in line and understanding of what the CDC is suggesting, and then some stuff that I'm like for instance, this opening schools thing. Well, this opening schools thing was not that long ago that they were saying, no, it's not a good idea, it's not a good idea.
Yeah.
And now they are like saying, it's wonderful, we need it. We need
Right.
them to go back to school. These are the reasons why. And I just found that kind of interesting that
Well,
I know
yeah.
that like with time, more evidence, more information comes along, and they can kind of change and adapt things. But a little bit, it feels like they're flipping the script to me.
Right. It's the narrative that whatever works at the time.
Right.
Because what really got me is that, and I don't have the exact numbers, so don't shoot me,
Mm-hmm.
but basically it was like cases are at 1,000.
Let's
Shut down
shut
the
down the
schools.
schools.
We can't do this. We've got to keep the kids safe. But now that they're 8,000,
Yeah.
okay, let's open. Like, how does that make any sense?
Right.
And I understand there are so many kids that need school. There's kids that are abused. There's kids that don't
Yes.
eat well. So I see both sides of the coin.
There are
Yep.
families that rely on school as a means of daycare or childcare,
Yeah.
so
So
that
we
they
can
can
work.
actually feed their families
Right.
and provide for them. And I can see, and under my notes, that is exactly what I wrote for the CDC. That is one of their biggest reasons, is that schools, homes are the first support for children in communities. Schools are the second most important form of support for children and for communities, and I agree 100%. But it still leaves a little bit of like that, like
Yeah.
that distrust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
I
saying?
will say there is, and I don't know if you were getting to it or whatever, but they not only did they delay this the opening of school, we have the option to do
yeah.
virtual care or virtual schooling.
Well, we've been given 3 options in our
Yes.
county, which if we want to go over it, we can.
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah,
I didn't know
so,
there was a third
The
option.
first option is the brick and mortar.
Which
Yeah.
means
Which-
that
They're at the school.
right.
The second option is distance learning with the school, which they will be under the same curriculum as they would be
Schoology and
if,
such.
if they were in the actual classroom. Or you can do St. John's Virtual School, which is completely different curriculum. But
Okay,
it's
I
more
wasn't-
at your own pace.
Yeah.
It's not really. It's not.
I didn't think so.
No.
I was like, isn't that what the girls did?
It's
but
an
I figured it
illusion.
was.
They just make it sound more
Or
flexible.
you can totally pull your kid out of this public school system and you can choose to homeschool them through whatever different kind of program you'd like. Now, some of the problem with some of this, like pulling your kid out altogether, is the fact that a lot of these different kind of things that are implemented to help these children, these lower income children, these children that
the funding for
is
the
the
school.
funding. If we do not have the right amount of kids in school, the funding gets cut. And as we all know,
There's
the
not enough to
schools
begin with.
do not have enough to begin with. The teachers do not have enough. I can't tell you. I don't know a teacher that hasn't paid for something out of
I'll
pocket
tell you this much.
yearly.
They getting everything on their wish list this year,
Oh,
okay?
for
Yes,
sure.
and then
Yeah.
some. Get you some Starbucks.
I
Let me
will
just throw
say,
you a gift card in there while
Yeah.
we're at it.
personally for us, if we want to talk about what we're doing, because we are all very different, we have different viewpoints on it. Last year we were actually in private school, and then we made the decision over the summer that we were going to go back to public school because we felt like it was going to go to virtual school, and among many reasons, the reasons we chose the private school, all the good things about it are completely lost when they're not in the school.
Right.
So it's a lot of money to spend on something when you're having to be the teacher at home and you're not getting those positive things back out of it. And nothing against the school. There's only so much they can do.
Right. It's a
So
lovely
I understand. Yes. But we decided to go with public school for a year to see how this all pans out. Because, in my personal opinion, I think no matter what precautions I take, it's all going to go back to virtual anyway. There's
I
no,
think that too.
there's just no way around it.
At some point,
It's
in
gonna
some
get
way,
shut down.
I think
There's,
so.
and
as
it
well.
might be they're in school for 3 weeks, they have to shut down for 2 weeks, and then back and forth. But that was just not something we wanted to deal with in the private school. Whatever. We, in our lives, decided we wanted more control, and virtual school is an option. And it's a hard pill to swallow because I'm not very good at teaching them. I'm not. But at the end of the day, I have a child that gets pneumonia every time she gets even the slightest cold.
Oh yeah.
I have a heart
Nebulizers
condition.
and stuff
Yeah.
too. The boys say.
Steroids, nebulizers.
That's what makes me so nervous.
Yeah, me too.
Because
Right.
whereas you're picking the virtual, I want to try and work up until I have the baby.
Yeah.
Just because I am going to be a stay-at-home mom after I have her, and I just want to still have that helpful income to where I'm not stressing out my husband
You
already.
stash a little away, a little
Which,
nest
yes,
egg.
that's my
Well,
idea.
My thought process is that not everybody is like me. Not, both my husband and I work from home.
Yeah.
And my thought process is that's 2 kids that are not in the school system, makes it easier for them to social distance for the kids that
Yeah.
don't have that
Yeah.
option.
I think that's wonderful.
So, I don't know. I didn't feel right about putting that. I hate to say
or it
burden.
feels like you're taking
Not my
advantage
kids,
or something.
right? Like,
yeah.
whenever I don't need that. It's a pandemic, for crying out loud.
Right.
Like, it's something that I can not easily, but I can teach them, and it'll be fine. They're not especially thrilled with me
Well,
about
when
the
are they
decision.
ever really?
Abriana more than Zoe. Zoe's pretty pissed. But Brianna was just like, can we go to Target more? Like, not really, that defeats the whole purpose.
Now, are you, when you say virtual school, are you talking about distance learning, or are
We're
you
doing
putting them
distance
in
learning.
Florida virtual?
No, we're doing distance
Okay,
learning,
cool.
so we'll do it
I
through
think
the
that'll be
school.
better, yeah.
Yeah.
And we will, case by case, or 9 weeks by 9 weeks, decide how things are going.
Yeah.
Oh, that we should mention that too. So for our county, that is what they're stipulating, is they wanted the students to commit to the first semester of whatever they picked. So they wanted them to be like, okay, well,
This
you
week
signed
we're
up to
this.
come into school, but then, 2 days into school, then now you want to do distance learning. Like they want them to commit, obviously within reason, because if something
Yeah.
should
Yeah.
happen and we have to go back into quarantine, or they have to,
Well, I
lock
get
down our
scheduling
quarantine
reasons.
schools.
They need to know.
Yeah.
I will
then
say,
we'll go back to that way.
we did have a little bit of a tiff with, I think it was Aubriana's school. I called both of them and I was like, look, I'm really sorry. I know that it's past the date and it was only by a couple of days. It wasn't by a lot. But we weren't even sure what school we were doing yet.
Right.
But I called and I was like, I need to put her down for the distance learning. And she's like, oh no, that cutoff has already been passed. And I was like, right. But my child physically won't be at the school, so what do we need to do?
Yeah.
You're like, this, it's not an option.
Like,
Throw her on the
make
list.
it happen.
Yeah.
you're gonna have to work with me. And she's like, I guess I'll tell the principal. I was like, yes, you will.
I'm sure the principal was like, oh, I can't believe this. I'm sure it was right there on his
Right?
desk and it was his top priority.
Right. This one child.
Probably
like,
never even
all
saw
right.
it.
Because I'm sure that I'm the only person
Right,
who
right.
decided late. Like, and I get that, whatever, but it was literally by days. It was not like they had already started. Like, you have to schedule this kid either way.
Right.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and I mean, and do the best you can, but in the end,
and
you
I'm
gotta
doing
do
my,
what's best
I'm
for
doing
your
my best
kid.
to help you as
Yes.
a school. Like, I'm trying here.
So that is kind of, so some of the things that the CDC is saying, like, these are the reasons we need, is aside from, like, the, you know, people that have low income or, like, children with special needs, that need...
They get therapies.
They
and
get
things
therapies
like that.
and things like
I
that.
say both my boys have IEPs.
Yes.
So they get the extra hands-on help.
Yeah.
And they,
By going into school,
it's
and
very
it helps them,
beneficial
yeah.
too. Yeah. But also for emotional, behavioral health, as well as for social health. Now, the only one that really I'm like, meh, is the social health one. As a previous homeschooler, like, yeah, is it important for your children to like engage with other children? Yes. Like, you don't want them like living under the stairs like Harry Potter, like
Yeah.
away from the world.
Yeah.
That's not okay. But coming from a homeschooling family, like, you haven't met my children, listeners, but you guys know my children. Are they shy? No. Nova a little bit as she gets older, but as children, no.
Monica is not at all.
They're not
No.
shy. They don't have any kind of, you know, stigma as to like as being easily influenced by other children.
Right.
Like, they are their own people.
They've definitely not lived under a rock.
Yeah, and so the social thing, I'm kind of like, but then some of the other things, like the
bothers
programs
me.
and stuff, are important.
It does bother me, the social element, because my kids, especially Zoe, they thrive off of it, and they're having a hard time without it.
Yeah.
So like for their mental health, I worry about it, but it's because
Yeah.
they're just used to having friends, and
Yeah.
right now, and I'm grateful that they have each other.
Yeah.
But it's hard on your mental health. I'm having a hard time.
Oh yeah.
So I can
Yeah.
only imagine
Same.
when they have zero control over everything. Like,
Right.
I mean, they had no say in it. And I feel terrible because I did have to make a choice that I knew that they didn't agree with, but that's
That's part of parenting.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to do what's best for them. I'm
And
terrified.
The problem is that nobody knows what's best.
No. And
that,
so we're just trying to figure out, regardless of if you choose schooling, whatever, like, you're not wrong.
Right.
It's going to be case by case, family by family, because even we are so different.
I will say now that we are going to do brick and mortar, there's one thing the boys are definitely not looking forward to is the masks all day.
They
Oh,
don't
yeah.
have to all day. They have to pretty much like when they go in, before they get their temperature, and then when they're going to be super close to people. So it's going to be a lot of the day, but it's not necessarily 8 hours. They can't move it.
Okay.
Well, that being said, I just got an email. Of course, your kids are in lower elementary schools. Mine are in middle school and high school, and I just got an email the other day saying that they will expect you to wear your mask at all times.
Really?
Yes. So I don't know, like, per each classroom, because, you know, I don't even know how they're going to do with high school because they travel
Yeah.
to different classrooms during the day.
And
So
Augustin's
when they're
usually packed.
So like when they're at their actual stations, I'm hoping they'll still be able to take them off, because I'm like, I can hardly go to the grocery store for an hour and not be like, oh God, I'm over this. Like,
Yeah.
I'm a very
Sweaty
animated
and-
person.
yeah.
Like, I need my lips, I need my face.
Yeah.
It's hard. Yes, sweating. We live in Florida. It is hot, and I'll tell you, when we went to the Keys, they have a mandatory mask mandate, and it is like a $700 fine.
Oh my
If
goodness.
you get busted without it. So it's hot, and I wouldn't say I struggled for breathing, because that's not necessarily the case, but it is hot.
It feels
in there.
like claustrophobic. Not
It is.
necessarily that like your oxygen levels are messed with or anything like super internal,
right.
but
It's a mental
feeling,
game.
It is.
Mhm.
And I made me like really think about like, people that do have a little bit of issues and struggle. Like, I know that they've basically proven like, okay, yeah, if you're asthmatic, it's still fine. You still get air, but it doesn't mean, to me, it seemed like, yeah, it still could be a challenge. There's no
Yeah.
way to deny having something over your face like this is going to,
like you're not gonna die, but it's not easy either.
but it's not
Yeah.
it doesn't feel normal, and it's uncomfortable, and like, yeah, we're all dealing with it, and I'm definitely pro masks, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong, but I'm just saying, like, for those kids that just don't understand, I worry for them, and like, I'd hate to think of a kid is getting in trouble when literally they don't understand
Yeah.
how to deal with it.
I will say the flip side. My kids actually love wearing their masks.
Do they really?
They do.
I know.
So
Mine don't either.
he was excited about the one that you got
That's
him.
why I got I got
special one?
a face shield, which is one you pull over and then lift up. It's more for like, you can use it as you're fishing. It cover
Like
the
the
back
fish
of your
bites
neck.
ones?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Yeah.
like that.
Those do not stay. I tried to wear my fish bites one, and it was like, it just slowly goes down like goes,
Yeah.
and then falls off my.
Well,
I
you
thought
have
my
to,
nose
you
would
have to
help.
hike it up a little bit in the
Oh.
back.
I don't know if I have enough, like,
Enough
what
head
do they
there.
call it? Hot dog back there.
If it's
Oh, I don't know.
completely around your head like this, it'll cover.
I'll have to try again.
I think
I
it
was-
just takes practice.
So frustrated though, because I liked it because then it's loose down here, and it feels like you have
A little
more-
better, like-
Every time I
Yeah.
talked, it like
Room.
sucked in, so I didn't like it.
Oh,
Oh yeah. Well, I don't know, but
The girls definitely want to get some cute ones for school. We haven't ordered any yet, though. Like, they're both into anime. Annika has one in particular. She really, you know which one she really wants? Not just an anime one. She really, both of my children are very pro use of pronouns and gender neutrality and just feeling secure in yourself. And so both of them kind of feel, of course they're young and they have time to decide later on in life, that they lean more towards bisexuality.
More fluid.
More
Yeah.
fluid. And so Annika had found this, like, it's the bi flag, but then it has, like, it looks like the colors are, like, dripping.
that's
I
cool.
think that's great, but I worry about if they'll allow that in school.
Oh,
Well, I said
yeah.
the same thing to her.
Yeah.
And she said, so she has a shirt that has, like, it's got, like, a man and a, like the bathroom man and women. It's like a man and a woman, and then a man and a man, and then a woman and a woman. And it's all, like, rainbow, and then it just says, like, equal, 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 and, like, giant
Yeah.
wording across. And she said that she's worn that to school and she's never gotten anything for it. So
Good.
I don't know if she's like stirring up stuff and she's wearing that.
Yeah, I think
that
it
might
has
be
to do
different.
with
Yeah.
how you present yourself as well.
That might be different, but I don't know that they can really say much because it could be discriminatory.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it doesn't say anything rude. It literally is just the flag. If you
Yeah.
didn't know that was there's so many flags now too. Like, I don't
Yeah,
know if you
could be
guys know. I'm
anything.
like, I don't even know half of them. I have to ask them. I'm like, what is that one?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know? So I thought that was kind of cute. She is using the mask to to kind of like push forward her own individuality.
Yeah,
When
to express
she
herself
feel like
and-
you can't.
Yeah.
You know, and she is my more expressive, more social child. So I kind of like that kind of can empower her a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You
any
know?
little bit that makes it easier on them and makes them get excited or, I mean, not really excited, but feel good about it.
Now,
It's a shitty situation. Anything you
Ew,
can do
yeah.
to feel better.
exactly. Well, we had talked about taking the plain ones and like rhinestoning them
Yeah.
and stuff.
Like those like bedazzler machines?
Mhm.
I was totally gonna get one.
I wonder if you can do like stickum ones.
Probably wouldn't stay very
I would
long.
want bedazzler so I could wash it.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's true. Because I was thinking it would be scratchy. You'd have to do it 2
Oh,
layers
yeah.
or something.
I didn't think about that.
Or like by this, like do a thin one and like layer them 2 together and sew them together. Or
We're gonna
something.
have to look into this because I still think a craft day like that would be a lot of fun.
It would be. Now, with all of this like up in the air stuff, I thought it was kind of funny, Shannon, because you were like, well, we weren't really sure what we were doing. I feel like that is my life right now.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't know what's happening tomorrow. I don't know what's happening next
I don't
week.
even know what's happening
Yeah.
next
How do
week.
you plan? How do you plan for anything right now? Like this.
I think planning the distance learning it's still so what if, but it was the closest I could get to control.
No, I get
And
that.
that's what it came down to, is that I need to know, like, my personality, like, I need to know that I'm doing everything I can to keep my anxiety at bay, and that has to do with keeping my kids healthy.
Right.
And then also my schedule is a really big part of it.
Yes.
There's just no way around it. That's who I am. That's what I need.
Well, so even like with this Keys trip, we didn't even tell the kids until a week before because we didn't know if we were going to end up going.
Yeah.
We went because of work. It wasn't something like we sought out to go on a vacation, you know? And then we did, because I know probably everyone is thinking like, oh, that's like not a hot spot, but like, you know, condensed
A lot
spot.
of people, yeah.
But we did more ecotourism kind of stuff to kind of stay away from the obvious tourist trap type stuff. We did
Yeah.
some hiking and we did some kayaking on our own, and we did some swimming. We kept it pretty chill. If it wasn't for a work thing, then we probably wouldn't have gone in the first place.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah.
yeah.
So I think
I'm good.
that's about, I
Well,
think
what about, okay, I have another one for you.
okay.
It kind of ties into this, like, how do you plan ahead thing. So what about, like, back to school? Have you guys done back to school? Have you done the typical school shopping,
I've
a week
done
worth of new clothes
A week
for
worth
everyone?
of new clothes. So far, I haven't gotten their supplies. I'm waiting on my next paycheck for that.
Gotcha.
I did, kicking myself now, but I did. I took the kids shopping, and Brianna is completely done.
Nice.
Zoe's not,
For
because
your
she's
homeschool.
more picky.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then now Zoe's like, well, can we go shopping and finish? And I'm like, I don't know when you're going back to school.
Yeah.
I don't want to buy you jeans in the middle of summer because you grow
Yes.
3 inches overnight.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
So it's not a punishment, but girlfriend, we're waiting to finish yours.
yeah. So, and this is interesting to me. So, like, I have done 0 school shopping yet.
So
0.
you're cutting it like real close.
Usually, I am like on it. I was buying stuff months ago.
Yeah.
Book bags. I just need new shoes, each new shoes, and then the actual supplies.
I will say, I feel so terrible, and I don't
What?
think that my ex-husband or his new wife watches this, but if anybody ever that knows them, just know that I feel terrible because I asked for school supplies.
Oh no.
And I asked at
You
about 2
probably
p.m.
need
one
them.
day, and at that night, and I will say that's a good co-parenting how it should go. That night, he came home or brought her home with all of her supplies. Like
That's
he
really
knew about it
fantastic.
for less than 5 hours. So I thought that was amazing.
Yeah, it is.
I was so grateful. And then the next day was whenever I just started seeing more news articles and I started deep diving into it a little bit, and I was like, look, like, I mean, all that stuff is put away. So whenever they do eventually go back, it will be used. It's not wasted.
Well, and I mean,
But I
they'll
did
need
feel
it for
bad.
helps for distance
Yeah,
learning.
they're
They'll
so
need
good.
right,
supplies.
they just won't need as much. Like, not so specific.
Well-
not until they go into the classroom, like the art box with
Right.
Yeah.
exact markers.
Well, they might. I mean, Annika had to do
Maybe.
distance learning art projects
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff.
I'm curious how that'll work
Yeah.
because
And whatever you don't use, you could always save for next year or
yeah,
donate.
it's not like it's gonna get wasted.
No.
But I did feel bad because I asked for help that I didn't need. But I was still grateful.
I'm basically, I think, so Nova has made plenty of money this summer. So I'm going to get them each like 2 new outfits. If Nova wants more, she can buy more. She got the money to do it.
Yeah.
And then both of them should be okay. Like, because they're in middle school and high school, and even Annika is going into the 8th grade.
Honestly, I don't think I've seen Noah wear that different outfits anyway. She's
No.
always
She
got
just
Yeah.
needs a new
the
pair
same sweater
of
and the
jeans.
same jeans.
Yes.
They
She
have
could
their
probably use a new
favorites.
sweater.
Yeah.
But
Well-
I'm gonna get them like the
Oh
only
no, sorry.
thing-
She has 2 sweaters because one's a Bill Cosby sweater and one's
the
a black
Cosby
hoodie.
sweater is dying. So sad. And we
Aw.
don't call it that anymore because
You know what? That's what it looks like, and every time I see it, I'm like,
it makes me sad now. It was my favorite.
Yeah. Well, we did do
Disappointing.
like a whole week plus shopping, at least for Abriana. And Zoe was given the same opportunity, but she's more picky, so she just didn't go on her first day. Pretty
I
much.
have one
so
more
she
picky
still has.
too.
But the only reason we did that much is because they've been in uniforms for years.
Oh yeah.
That they don't really have a whole lot. I mean, they do, but they're shorts and dresses and stuff like that.
That's
so
not as appropriate
they
to wear to
needed
school.
a full, and then that was part of the bribing because I
Yeah.
did. I
Yeah.
felt absolutely terrible taking them out of their school and what they knew. And they handled that part like champs.
Yeah.
But we did bribe them and be like, we'll go shopping. Every month you'll get an allowance for more clothes because I'm not paying for
That's
private
very
school.
sweet.
yeah.
Like,
That's-
so we did everything we could to like sweeten the pot for them. But I in a normal situation, like in your situation where your kids have normal clothes,
They wear the
I
same
would have
stuff
just like
over and over.
gotten you like a special couple outfits.
Yeah,
and
feel
they'll go
fresh.
Mine
Yeah.
got 5 outfits each.
Yours are
And-
needed though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm getting rid of most of their clothes because they've outgrown most of them. They've torn
Tore it
through
up.
most of them because they're boys and they're hard on everything.
Everything.
Everything. All their jeans are like busted in the knees, stained up.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
They're either
they were
growing out of it
nice
too fast or
jeans.
they're boys and they've ruined
Just
it.
yes.
Destroying it.
I will say, I bought, real quick, sorry, I bought Abriana a pair of Converse, and she's told me
Oh,
at least
awesome.
75 times since then how cool I am, and I'm an amazing mom.
Ooh.
They were like
we haven't gotten
$30.
shoes yet.
That's good because
We looked at
usually they
Walmart
get
for
bigger, they get more
shoes,
expensive.
And they were all so ugly. I was like, I'm not buying any of this.
Well,
They were real ugly, and I was like, no.
normally I don't buy nice brands for them, but they're getting to the age that they're slowing down, that they're not growing so fast that I'm a little more comfortable doing it when I can find them on sale. So we're in
Yeah.
that kind of like in the middle.
Yeah, I'm trying to probably with my next paycheck, I'll go do shoes and do the supplies and just let it be.
yeah.
And I'll have them with me so they can pick out their shoes. But I'm gonna be trying to find some store that does like buy one get one half off.
What is it that, is it not Famous Foot, but what is that place called in
Foot
the
Locker?
mall? In the
No.
inside mall, across from Old Navy, like down there by like Pearson.
Oh,
Pagoda.
yeah.
Ooh, I don't know.
You know what I'm talking
I know
about.
what you're talking about
Yeah.
too.
They always have amazing deals.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to take them into there.
It's a shoe store. You know.
But I don't feel right spending $40 on shoes for each of them.
No.
No, I wouldn't either. Now, as far as actual supplies go, I'm not. When the girls first started into public school, I was like, buy everything on the list,
Yeah.
buy extra, and
They don't need absolutely
they don't
everything
need
on
half
the
of that
list.
crap. Yeah, not in their
All
at
the
their age
binders
group.
for kindergarten or first grade, I'm like, he's not gonna use this
Folders they
binder.
never used. So what I'm going to be getting for mine is they're each getting a handful of spiral bound notebooks because they use the crap out of
Yeah.
those. And then they're getting some nice pencils and some nice pens. And then that'll be it until we find out like what they actually
Yeah.
need
I
for
would
each
throw
class.
in some teachers list stuff too. Nothing crazy.
Well, that's the thing is I won't
Oh yeah,
know until they go.
I'll hit up
Yeah.
that wish list for you, and I'll make sure you got everything on that. But
I
I'm
don't
sorry,
like the
my
generic
third
list.
and my first grader don't need 20 Expo dry erase markers.
No,
Yeah.
no. Mine won't even have a list until they actually go into
Oh
class.
yeah,
Yeah.
they get their
So I
list
could
from
go
each
ahead and
class.
preemptively buy all of these things, but like I've done that. And when I did it the first time around, they didn't even need half the stuff. Their teachers actually were like, well, actually, we want these things.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to wait. I also kind of have a feeling with the articles and stuff that I've been seeing about schools opening,
It's not gonna last very
a
long.
lot of the schools, I mean, and I'm talking across the nation, not just in Florida. I saw Georgia recently. They open within a week or so, they're closed.
Yeah.
When I saw one school, 600 something kids and staff had to be quarantined from the school. I'm like, how many more kids could there be in that school? Like,
Oh my gosh.
is that like half the school? I mean,
Yeah,
At
probably.
least.
holy crap.
If not the whole thing.
So I don't see, like you were saying, Shannon, it could be that they go back and that they're there for a week and then they have to come home and be quarantined. Now, I actually haven't said, but my children are going to do brick and mortar because they're older. We were able to kind of talk to them about it. Both of them did struggle with the distance learning.
Yeah.
And I know that there's a lot of reasons for that. It's not just them. It's and I'm not trying to say it's the teachers. What I'm trying to say with the teachers is that they were thrown into it. They were just thrown into it. The teachers were not prepared for that, and I think it just was a big cluster. And so we are doing brick and mortar. I am definitely nervous about it. I am nervous because my my youngest, who is in 8th grade, is going to walk to school this year, or else she was going to ride with you guys, but now
we're not.
Which she's been wanting to do anyways, but I know
she almost seemed a little disappointed that we were going to be taking her.
Oh, yeah.
Because she wants to walk.
She wants to walk. So, and they do have a bus, but the reason we chose not to do the bus is that the bus, they're going to try to do like social distancing too, and I'm not even sure how
that's going to work. Yeah,
and they have to wear masks.
I'm definitely happy that I have that option, that I'm allowed. I have
the flexibility to take them.
That does mean cutting my work day, but I'd rather do that than them be on the bus. And,
yeah.
So it was just her birthday last Sunday, and she got her first phone. That's why I was checking my phone earlier, because she's like texting.
Yeah.
Bing, 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 bing.
It's still the cool thing to text your mom. She'll text
so
anybody, just to be texting.
Yeah. They're actually, she made a family group chat, and they're talking about what they want to eat for dinner.
Oh my goodness.
So
is it Chinese food?
It was tacos.
Oh, I'm surprised.
Which I'm surprised, because we did forever. The kids are always like, let's just make every, like, I want to know ahead of time, like, what we're having for the week, and like every time we'll know.
Meal plan?
Yeah, like meal plan. It was like, okay, well, Taco Tuesday. We did Taco Tuesdays for like 4 weeks, and then it was like, tacos.
Aww.
And I was like, it's Taco Tuesday. You wanted this.
You
know?
asked for this.
So I'm surprised they even want tacos, but sounds good. Sounds good to me.
All right.
What
about?
I think we're ready to wrap up. Yeah, trials.
All right.
Or trials.
Triumphs.
We did
we're
the
not
trials.
talking about bad. That was good.
Yeah, the good one. So for mine is because I'm overweight, I had to do my glucose test early.
Yeah. This is a good one.
And my doctor or midwife, she was real concerned. My appointment before last, she was like, you're highly likely to have it, and went over all the things. I was like, okay, I'll accept it. I'm probably gonna have it. Is what it is. And I went in for my last appointment, and I had actually dropped weight, which surprised me, to be honest.
Yeah.
Well, your husband's not home.
Yeah, he doesn't bring home all the junk.
Well, hang on, pause. Have it.
Treater.
She means have gestational diabetes.
Yes. Yeah.
For anybody who doesn't know what the glucose test is for.
Yes.
But it went well.
So when I went in this last appointment, I had dropped weight, and then she was, well, I really doubt you have it, because if you had it, you would. Yeah. She was, if you had gestational diabetes, you would have probably gained 6 pounds, not lost anything. I was like, okay. She was, but I still want you to go take it. I was like, well, I had planned on it. So I went, took it, and it takes 4 days to get the results back. So like every day, I was still checking on my patient portal. Results not in. Results not in. Monday morning, I looked and I was like, yes! You had to have your sugar had to be below 130. Mine was at a 95.
Oh, wow. So you did really well. You didn't just barely.
No,
You did really well.
Fine, yeah.
I think your husband being gone and not bringing you home treats helps.
Yeah.
I don't ever ask for the treats,
He's
though.
a good husband.
It's not just that, it's
He's
also
sweet
like
as can be, and he loves to just bring goodies home, and
wants to eat.
That's why I look like
takeout and stuff like
always
that
wants
too.
to order takeout.
That's really great. I did have gestational diabetes with Nova, and it was scary. First pregnancy and stuff. But I was able to do diet control, and it really kind of opened my eyes up to nutrition and like.
I think that was like the start.
For sure. And then having her too was a very big start for me health wise, because then I had a reason to care, you know. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love my husband and I wanted to like live for him.
It's
but,
different
like,
with your
ain't
children.
nothing but that baby. You know what I'm saying? Nothing like that. So that's really great. I'm glad you don't have to deal or stress about it.
Yeah.
It's scary.
It definitely made me happy, because I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to really watch everything, which I should still be watching.
Well, yeah, like you want to make
I
healthy
don't-
choices,
yeah.
but you're also pregnant. You want to eat what you want to eat.
I'm like hungry every 2 hours, but I will say that I can't eat a big meal.
It's little bits.
I can only eat tiny bits at a time, which apparently Kayla, my best friend, was complete opposite. She goes, I could eat everything all day long, and I was like, I literally can eat this much, and I'm full. But then I'm hungry in 2 hours, so I've got to eat again, and then again. in the middle of the night I'm hungry, and
Wake up to have a snack.
but that can also contribute to my weight loss, as I'm eating small more often.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, 'cause that's the ideal way to eat anyway.
Yeah.
it is.
So I think that might have a little something to do with it as well. But I'm just so happy I don't have it.
That's
Me
amazing.
too.
What about your good thing?
My septic is done.
Yay!
Yay! We can flush. We can wash. It's fantastic.
You can do all the things.
Yeah, it's still not ideal. It's still a big
Mound
in my
in your
yard. I do have to.
A new dirt pile in your
I
yard.
know, and I haven't had a chance to get to it. They called me and were like, "We have this extra fill dirt, and we can haul it off, or unless you want us to leave it." And I was like, "Yeah, leave it. It's enormous. I have a giant
I
pile
paid
of
for
fill
it."
dirt. I paid for it. That's exactly right." So I'm thinking like, hopefully this weekend I can like get out in the yard because it's literally just sitting right in front of my driveway, and I can like put it where I have like low spots or wet spots or whatever. And then also I noticed that like usually septic mound is like goes out and then down. Ours is more like gradual down, which is
Typically they are.
That's how it's meant to be.
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay, which is nice except for the little bit of piece where I thought we would still be able to come into that gate
don't
to
have that
park
space.
it's not as obvious.
Yeah.
So it would be kind of nice to use some of that dirt to kind of like level that space, and then maybe I can put like a border and maybe like some mulch or something to kind of designate like this is the
Like a
only
small
space
parking
that
spot.
you can drive. Yeah. Because
Yeah, 'cause
we
you
should
definitely wanna be
have
careful.
just enough room to still get one car in,
Yeah.
Right.
which is nice because we don't have a lot of space for parking.
So I don't know, it's not a huge thing, but we are planning our first international trip with the girls.
That's the passports.
Yeah.
That's the passports. Couple of different points. We're looking at 30 to 45 days. So wherever we go, we would quarantine. I don't worry about traveling right now because we live in a hot spot, and pretty much anywhere else would be safer than where we
True,
are.
Yeah.
And that's my only justification for it. And even more so, it's going to be months before it happens. So hopefully, in my ideal world,
Figure it out by then.
Corona will be a thing of the past.
Yeah.
But if needed, we'll quarantine when we get there or whatever. We're looking at hopefully Peru.
Exciting.
Got clearance from work because I work remotely to work as long as I can have my same output at the same hours every day and available, which with any internet access we can do. I was granted permission. So it started off as like a crazy what if we just made the best out of this situation where we're stuck at home, not working, or not going in the office.
Right.
The kids aren't going to school. I mean, it would be an amazing experience for the kids. We've wanted to travel, and we don't know if we'll ever get an opportunity like this again. So we're trying. We'll see how long it actually takes to get passports. Because if the girls are back in school by then it'll probably be next summer. We'll see kind of how that goes. But if we get passports back quickly, that would be amazing.
That would be amazing.
And we'll just go quarantine in Peru.
I'm jealous. I'm jealous because I was just talking to Ben about this because we both wanted to go to Machu Picchu.
Yeah.
So you have to take some pictures. If you see anything, you're like, oh yeah, Tiffany will think this is so cool.
Yeah.
Take a picture.
I am so blessed that my husband loves traveling because where there's a will, there's a way. And as soon as I say yes, he's like, book the tickets.
That's awesome.
Let's go. So I am grateful, but Peru is very inexpensive. And obviously flights are very inexpensive right now. So it just worked out that we think we might be able to pull this off. And it would be really great for the kids. They're tired of being holed up. Peru's, it's almost like we're running away to Peru. Their levels are so incredibly low. It's a very safe place to be right now. As far as
That's
COVID
awesome.
goes, of course, you have to deal with security and other things.
There's always other things.
Yes.
But we'll deal with that. So we're just excited, and we'll see what comes of it. But that's pretty much all I've got for excitement this week. So
It's pretty exciting.
That's pretty exciting.
This was supposed to be our short episode, you guys.
This is
I know,
not,
oops.
this is not short. Well, then again, our trials alone took almost a half hour.
we
We had some
trials.
pretty big trials this week.
yeah, It's kind of been a killer week.
Yeah.
For,
Hence why we were all exhausted by Monday.
yeah.
It's all right. We're working on it.
All right. Well,
I
I
guess
think
that's
that
it.
wraps us up for the
Yeah.
day.
All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.